Have you ever noticed something extraordinary about life? The people who despair the most for money are precisely the ones who push abundance away the furthest. Meanwhile, those who seem to need it the least are the ones who receive the most. This isn't coincidence, it's not luck, and it's definitely not injustice. It's a universal law as precise as gravity, as real as the air you're breathing right now. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal the secret that billionaires, spiritual masters, and even quantum physics confirm. The universe rewards those who don't act from lack. If you're watching this video, it's not by accident. Something inside you already knows there's a different way to attract prosperity, and today you're going to discover exactly how to activate this power that already exists within you. Development, deep connection. Let me tell you a real story that will make you rethink everything you know about money and abundance. I knew two men in the same city at the same time with similar backgrounds. The first one woke up every day anxious, checking his bank account before even brushing his teeth, calculating every penny, complaining about life, saying money was never enough. He worked 12, 14 hours a day, but prosperity seemed like a horizon that moved further away the more he chased it. The second man also worked hard, but there was something different about him. He donated part of what he earned, helped those in need, lived with an inexplicable lightness. He didn't show off, but he didn't despair either. And you know what happened? While the first one was still in the same struggle after 5 years, the second had tripled his income, opened 2 thriving businesses, and lived in a state of peace that the first one's money could never buy. The difference between these two men wasn't in technical knowledge, it wasn't in willpower, it wasn't even in the amount of effort. The difference was in something much deeper and more powerful, the energetic frequency each one vibrated at. And this leads us to a revolutionary discovery that unites science and spirituality in a way that will blow your mind. Quantum physics and spirituality. Quantum physics has discovered something that mystics have always known. Everything in the universe is energy vibrating at different frequencies. What you call solid matter, that chair you're sitting on, the phone in your hand, your own body, is all 99.9% empty space and energy. And here's the crucial point that will change your life. This energy responds to your thoughts, emotions, and intentions. I'm not talking about superficial positive thinking. I'm talking about a scientifically proven truth through the double-slit experiment, quantum entanglement, and decades of research in quantum mechanics. When you act from despair, from desperate need, you emit a frequency of scarcity. This frequency resonates through the quantum field and, like a magnet, attracts more situations that confirm that scarcity. It's as if you're shouting to the universe, "I don't have, I need, I'm in lack." And the universe, which is a perfect mirror, reflects exactly that back to you. But when you act from generosity, when you give even without apparent abundance, when you trust that the universe is infinitely abundant, you completely change your vibrational frequency. And here's something even deeper, the divine intelligence behind all this. Some call it God, others universe, source, cosmic consciousness. The name doesn't matter. What matters is understanding that there's an organizing intelligence behind all creation, a force that makes your heart beat without you having to think about it, that turns a tiny seed into a gigantic tree, that coordinates billions of galaxies in perfect harmony. This same intelligence is available to you, but only when you align with its principles. And one of the fundamental principles of this divine intelligence is generosity. Think about it. Nature is the greatest expression of generosity there is. A single tree produces thousands of fruits, far more than it needs to reproduce. The sun shines on everyone without asking for anything in return. The ocean gives and gives and gives its waters that turn into rain, and it never runs out. This is God's signature in the universe, unlimited abundance and endless generosity. When you act from generosity, you're not just being nice, you're aligning with the very essence of creation, with the Creator's frequency. Paradigm shift. Now let's get to what really matters, how you turn this knowledge into practical results in your financial and spiritual life. Because understanding the theory is worthless if you don't know how to apply it, right? I'm going to give you 10 powerful strategies, tested not just by me but by countless people who went from scarcity to real abundance. But first, you need to understand a fundamental principle. True prosperity isn't just having money in the bank. It's living in a state of peace, gratitude, and trust where money flows naturally as a consequence of who you've become. First strategy. The first transformation you need to make is to immediately stop complaining about your financial situation. I know it seems too simple to be true, but listen carefully. Every time you complain, every time you say you're broke, that money doesn't come, that life is hard, you're literally programming your brain and the quantum field around you to create more of that reality. Your words have creative power. The Bible says life and death are in the power of the tongue, and science confirms that your brain doesn't distinguish between reality and vivid imagination. When you speak of scarcity, your nervous system goes into survival mode. Your prefrontal cortex, responsible for strategic decisions, gets compromised, and you literally become less able to see opportunities. So from now on, even if your account is in the red, you're going to speak and think in terms of abundance that's coming, opportunities that are opening, money that's flowing to you. This isn't illusion. It's neuro-quantum reprogramming. Second strategy. The second key to prosperity is to start giving, especially when you feel like you don't have anything. I know this challenges all rational logic, but that's exactly why it works. When you donate, even if it's a symbolic amount, you send a powerful message to your subconscious and the universe. I have more than I need, I am abundant, I trust there will always be more. This breaks the scarcity cycle at the deepest level. I'm not telling you to go into debt or give what you don't have. I'm talking about cultivating the habit of generosity even in small doses. Buy a snack for someone in need, donate clothes you don't use, contribute to a project that touches your heart. The amount doesn't matter as much as the energy behind the gesture. Great millionaires and billionaires, from Andrew Carnegie to Warren Buffett, Bill Gates and Oprah Winfrey, all talk about the transformative power of giving. They don't give because they're rich. They're rich because they understand this universal law of energy circulation. Third strategy. The third strategy is to practice radical gratitude every day, especially for the small things you already have. Gratitude isn't just a nice feeling, it's a spiritual technology that changes your biology and your external reality. Scientific studies show that consistent gratitude practice increases dopamine and serotonin levels, improves sleep, reduces inflammation in the body, and even boosts prefrontal cortex activity. But most importantly, gratitude is the highest vibrational frequency you can access as a human being. It puts you in direct resonance with divine abundance. Start your day listing 10 things you're grateful for, not just saying them mechanically, but really feeling the gratitude in your chest. Thank for the water coming out of the tap, the roof over your head, the ability to read these words. When you're in genuine gratitude, you can't be in fear or scarcity at the same time. It's neurologically impossible. And when you're not in scarcity, the universe stops sending you scarcity experiences. Fourth strategy. The fourth transformation is to visualize your future abundance with all your senses. But here's the secret no one tells you. You don't visualize to manifest something that doesn't exist. You visualize to align with a reality that already exists in the quantum field of infinite possibilities. Quantum physics shows us that all possibilities exist simultaneously until an observer collapses the wave function into a specific reality. You are that observer. So every day, dedicate 15 minutes to seeing yourself living the prosperous life you desire. Don't just see it, feel it. How do you feel looking at your abundant bank account? What does your dream home smell like? What does the meal you can afford without worry taste like? Engage all senses and, above all, cultivate the emotion of already having achieved it. Emotion is the fuel that accelerates manifestation because intense emotions create powerful electromagnetic fields around your body that literally reorganize the matter around you. This isn't magic, it's biophysics. Fifth strategy. The fifth key is to invest in your personal and spiritual growth even before you have extra money. This seems contradictory, but it's one of the most powerful secrets there is. Prosperous people don't invest in knowledge because they have money. They have money because they've always invested in knowledge. Buy that book that can transform your mindset. Take that course that will give you a new skill. Invest in your physical and mental health. Every time you invest in yourself, you increase your intrinsic value, and the universe always rewards value. Plus, when you invest in growth, you declare to the universe that you expect returns, that you believe in a better future, that you're worthy of more. I know people who invested their last resources in education, and months later, that investment returned multiplied in ways they never imagined. The universe constantly tests your faith, and investing in yourself is one of the clearest ways to demonstrate that faith. Sixth strategy. The sixth powerful strategy is to clear your financial energy from the past. Many people carry financial traumas, limiting beliefs inherited from family, painful experiences with money that created deep energetic blocks. Have you heard your parents say money doesn't grow on trees? That rich people are dishonest? That you're poor and always will be? These programs are etched in your subconscious and silently sabotage your efforts to prosper. You need to consciously identify and reprogram these beliefs. Make a list of all the negative beliefs about money you carry, then for each one, write a new empowering belief and repeat it every day until it becomes your new truth. If you believe money is dirty, replace it with, money is neutral energy that flows to me and allows me to do good in the world. If you believe you don't deserve wealth, replace it with, I am a child of the creator of an infinitely abundant universe and deserve all prosperity. Also, work on forgiveness. Forgive yourself for past financial mistakes. Forgive those who taught you scarcity. Forgive situations where you lost money. Forgiveness releases trapped energy that can then flow toward abundance. 7th strategy. The 7th transformation is to act as if you're already prosperous, but intelligently. This doesn't mean pretending or spending what you don't have. It means embodying the mindset and habits of an abundant person. How does a prosperous person handle their finances? They organize, plan, invest wisely. How does a prosperous person dress? With dignity and self-care, not necessarily expensive brands. How does a prosperous person treat others? With generosity and respect. Start cultivating these behaviors now, regardless of your bank balance. Organize your finances even if they're small. Take good care of your clothes and belongings even if they're simple. Walk with upright and confident posture. Your body and behavior send constant signals to your brain about who you are, and your brain then creates a reality that matches that identity. Neuroscientists call this a self-fulfilling prophecy, and it's one of the most powerful tools for transformation you have. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. So become energetically the person who already lives in abundance, and physical abundance will follow naturally. 8th strategy.
The 8th key to prosperity is to develop multiple income streams, starting with what you already have. The era of depending on a single source is ending, and the universe is constantly sending opportunities for diversification. But you need to be attentive. Look at your skills, hobbies, knowledge.
What do you know how to do that could help someone? What problem can you solve for others? In today's digital world, there are infinite monetization possibilities that don't require large initial investments. You can teach something online, sell digital products, offer consulting in your area of expertise, create content. The idea isn't to overload yourself, but to plant seeds in different soils. Some won't sprout, but those that do can become trees of abundance. And here's an important secret. When you have multiple sources, you reduce the desperation associated with each one, and remember the principle we opened this video with? Those who don't need desperately receive. When you don't depend exclusively on one source, you negotiate better, make wiser decisions, and paradoxically, each source prospers more. 9th strategy. The 9th transformation is to surround yourself with people who already live the abundance you desire, or at least share the same growth mindset. This is crucial and often overlooked. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, not just in behavior but energetically too. If you're constantly surrounded by pessimism, complaining, and scarcity mindset, no matter how strong your determination, that energy will pull you down. I'm not saying to abandon friends or family, but to be strategic about who influences your mind and energy. Seek groups, communities, events where prosperous people gather. Read biographies of people who achieved what you want. Follow on social media people who inspire growth, not those who feed drama and negativity. When you change your circle of influence, you change your reality because you start normalizing success, seeing abundance as achievable, learning strategies that work. And there's a quantum phenomenon called morphic resonance that suggests when you're near people at a certain frequency, you naturally start vibrating at the same frequency. Use this to your advantage. 10th strategy. The 10th and final strategy, which should actually be the first because it sustains all the others, is to develop a solid daily spiritual practice. This can be meditation, prayer, contemplation, connection with nature, any practice that connects you to something greater than yourself. Here's the truth. Few understand. Lasting prosperity doesn't come from external strategies. It springs from an inner source of peace, trust, and alignment with the divine. When you're connected to your spiritual essence, when you feel you're part of something infinite and abundant, the fear of scarcity simply dissolves. And without fear of scarcity, your decisions become clearer, your actions more effective, your energy more magnetic. Dedicate at least 20 minutes every day to quieting the mind, listening to your intuition, and connecting with the source of all abundance. Talk to God as you would to a loving and infinitely generous Father, because that's exactly what He is. Ask for guidance, thank for blessings, surrender your worries. And throughout the day, pay attention to signs, synchronicities, doors that open. The universe is constantly guiding you to your greatest prosperity, but you need to be tuned in to receive the guidance. Integration and synthesis. Now, putting all these pieces together, you start to see the full picture. The art of the universe's generosity isn't random. It's not a privilege for a chosen few. It's a law as reliable as gravity. But just as you need to understand gravity to build a plane that flies, you need to understand spiritual and quantum laws to create sustainable abundance. The universe isn't testing you to see if you deserve it. The universe is constantly responding to your vibrational frequency. When you vibrate in scarcity, despair, and need, the universe reflects that. When you vibrate in generosity, gratitude, and trust, the universe reflects abundance. And here's the divine irony that titles all this. Those who don't need get. But now you understand it's not about literally not needing money. It's about not vibrating in the energy of desperate need. It's about trusting so deeply in the infinite generosity of the universe and God that you can give even when you have little, thank even when things are hard, act from abundance even when the bank account says scarcity. This trust, this faith demonstrated in action, is what changes everything. Real transformation. Let me give you concrete examples of how this works in practice, because theory without application is worthless. Imagine you're unemployed and desperate for work. The scarcity approach would be sending hundreds of random resumes, accepting anything that comes up, going to interviews emanating desperation, accepting low salaries because you need it so much. The energy you project is, please choose me, I need it badly, I'll take anything. And guess what happens? Either you get nothing, or you get opportunities that reflect exactly that low-value energy. Now imagine the abundance approach. You take time to clarify what kind of work really aligns with your values and talents. You prepare excellently for each opportunity. That truly matters. You go to interviews not begging but offering value. You're willing to wait for the right opportunity because you trust it will come. The energy you project is, I have value, I offer solutions, I consciously choose where I invest my energy. Which of these people do you think attracts better opportunities? The answer is obvious, and this applies to all areas of life. Or think about relationships. When you act from the need not to be alone, you accept crumbs, tolerate disrespect, twist yourself to please, and you end up attracting exactly people who exploit that need. But when you're complete in yourself, when you know your abundance, you attract relationships of mutual respect because you radiate that you don't need, you choose. This works for friendships, business partnerships, all kinds of human relationships. Science and spirituality united. Going back to the connection between quantum physics and spirituality, there's a fascinating experiment conducted by physicist William Tiller from Stanford University that demonstrated focused human intention can alter the pH of water from a distance. This means your consciousness, your thoughts, and intentions literally alter physical reality. Not metaphorically, literally. And if your thoughts can change water and you're 70% water, imagine what consistent thoughts can do to your biology, your health, your energy, and consequently your ability to attract and create abundance. Another study from the HeartMath Institute showed that the human heart generates an electromagnetic field 5,000 times more powerful than the brain's, and this field can be measured several meters away from the body. And guess which emotion generates the most coherent and powerful field? Gratitude and love. So when you live in gratitude, you literally become a transmitter of frequency that attracts corresponding experiences. This is measurable science, not mystical speculation. And the Bible, written millennia before quantum physics, already taught these principles. Give, and it shall be given unto you. Prove me now herewith, saith the Lord, if I will not open you the windows of heaven. Whatsoever ye do, do it heartily, as to the Lord. These aren't just moral teachings. They're operational instructions for accessing universal laws of abundance. God, the Creator, established spiritual laws as consistent as physical laws, and when you learn to work with these laws instead of against them, life becomes a flow of natural miracles. Overcoming obstacles. Now, I know as you're watching this, you might be thinking, but I tried positive thinking before and it didn't work. I gave and just got screwed. These things don't work for me. And I completely understand because I thought that way too. But here's what I discovered. It doesn't work when you do it superficially. When you think positive for 3 days and give up. When you give expecting to get back in the same coin. When you act out of obligation and not genuine internal transformation. Universal laws aren't instant magic tricks. They're principles that require consistency, sincerity, and deep alignment. It's like planting a seed. You don't plant today and demand the tree tomorrow. You plant, water consistently, trust the invisible process happening underground, and eventually life manifests. Many people give up right in the period when the seed is germinating invisibly, thinking nothing is happening. But if you keep applying these principles with sincerity, with genuine faith, not as manipulation techniques but as identity transformation, the results will come in ways you can't imagine now. Another common obstacle is external judgment. When you start changing your energy, when you start speaking differently, acting differently, others will notice and many will criticize, especially those comfortable in mediocrity who feel threatened by your growth. You need to be prepared for that and stay firm. Remember, lions don't lose sleep over the opinions of sheep. People who achieved greatness always face skepticism and criticism. If Jesus was criticized, if Gandhi was criticized, if every great transformer of humanity was criticized, you will be too. Accept it as a sign you're on the right path. Final call and consolidation. So here's what I need you to understand viscerally, not just intellectually. You were created in the image and likeness of an infinitely abundant God. That means abundance isn't something external you need to hunt. It's your essential nature that you need to allow to flow. Every block you have, every limitation you experience, isn't because the universe is denying you. It's because you're blocking the natural flow with fear, limiting beliefs, and actions based on scarcity. When you truly absorb that you live in a universe with billions of galaxies, trillions of stars, incomprehensible abundance at all levels, and you're an integral part of it all, not a separate part struggling to survive, but a conscious extension of all that abundance, something fundamental changes inside you. You relax. You trust. You act from inspiration and not desperation. And in that relaxed and confident state, you become a clean channel through which abundance can flow without obstruction. The 10 strategies I shared aren't a to-do list for you to check off mechanically. They're entry doors to a new way of being, a new identity. You don't need to apply all at once. Choose 1 or 2 that resonate most with you now and commit to excellence in them until they become second nature, then add others. Real transformation happens in layers, not all at once. Moment of decision. This is your moment of decision. You can watch this video, find it interesting, and continue living exactly as before. Or you can let these truths penetrate deeply into you and commit to real transformation. The difference between people who transform their lives and those who stay in the same situation year after year isn't knowledge, it's application. It's not knowing, it's doing. And more importantly, it's not doing once, it's committing to a new lifestyle. I challenge you to this now. For the next 30 days, choose 3 of these strategies and apply them religiously. Every day, without exception, even when you don't feel like it, even when it seems like it's not working. Treat this like a scientific experiment where you're the scientist and your life is the lab. Observe the results honestly. I guarantee that if you do this with sincerity, in 30 days, you'll be a different person vibrating at a different frequency, and your external reality will start reflecting that internal change. And as you do this, always remember, those who don't need get. Not because you're pretending not to need, but because you've developed such deep trust in the infinite generosity of the universe and God that you can live detached from the outcome. Act from the joy of serving and not the need to receive. Give because it's your nature, and not because you expect something in return. And ironically, when you reach that state, everything you've ever wanted starts flowing to you effortlessly, as natural fruits of who you've become. The universe isn't against you. It never was. The universe is in constant conspiracy in your favor, sending opportunities, signs, people, and resources to support you on your journey to abundance. But you need to tune in, align your energy, act with faith demonstrated in action. And when you do that, when you truly become one with this truth, you discover something extraordinary. You were never separate from abundance. You've always been abundance expressing in human form. You just forgot temporarily. Now you've remembered. Now you know. And now the only question left is, what are you going to do with this knowledge?